What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Hoop Hogs video mailbag. I'm Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas and the Pod at the Palace, coming to you this Friday morning with something a little bit different. So not a direct question that came from one of our listeners. That's what we've been doing, just taking your questions and going through them every single morning. We're trying to get to the start of the college basketball season with this thing. But if you've been paying attention recently, I've kind of gone through a player preview series where all top 9 guys, or the projected top 9 guys in the rotation, kind of done a breakdown of them, strengths, weaknesses, expectations, you name it, broken down some film. It's been a lot of fun. But one thing that I did say was I knew we were getting ready to go check out the Razorbacks at this tip-off tour that they did last weekend, get to see them in live action, get some first impressions. And one thing I wanted to do was kind of run it back afterwards and just kind of hit you guys with, maybe some of the things that have changed in my mind or some of the things that were validated after getting to see these dudes up close and in person. So I wanted to do that today. And what I'm going to try to do, I've got a screen share up and I'll just kind of play some of the highlights that we got from that. And I'm just going to roll through these 9 guys one by one here and just kind of tell you, what I saw, what I thought, and if it matches up to kind of what my expectations were before getting to see them up close and in person. So let me pull this up here. And there we go. Let's get these highlights rolling. Boom. There we go. Okay, cool. This is a really cool event, man. And I know some people were talking about the attendance or whatever, but dude, you had 12 days, you know what I mean, to kind of promote this. It was in Pine Bluff. They did some really cool stuff with passing out the shoes, the Samaritan's Feet charity, and people were really excited about it. And I thought it was a lot of fun. We got to see these guys practice. It wasn't your traditional red-white game. So, it was more practice drills, and you can kind of get a vibe for what they're working on. You see this right here. It's a lot of transition work, a lot of up and down. They want to play fast. And so that's what you're going to see. So enjoy the clips. I'm going to talk about these dudes and some of the things that I saw. Nelly Davis, first of all, he didn't participate. Looked like he had a brace or a cast or something on his hand, his wrist. For what it's worth, he was at SEC Media Day on Tuesday, and that was not on there. So it sounds like he's probably on the mend and getting close to back. But nothing's going to change in terms of what I feel about him. He's a big time bucket getter, a big time scorer, going to be a go-to guy for Arkansas. I think fans are going to absolutely love him. And being around him at SEC Media Day, he's a big kid. Like he played a lot of power forward at Florida Atlantic. He was a guard offensively, but he had to defend the 4 spot for those guys, which was, going against big, strong power forwards, dudes who are a lot bigger than him. And he did a really good job of that. And I believe it. Big, strong, physical guard. He's going to be a dynamite player for Arkansas. I'm looking forward to it. Boogie Fland. Everything I thought about him, man, he kind of followed through in terms of my expectations. Seeing him live, he's electric with the ball in his hands. I think he's going to be Arkansas's best shooter. He was the best shooter that I saw there. We'll see if Nelly Davis has something to say about that. But man, he's got a tough pull-up game. He is taller and more physically strong, like thicker, bigger than I thought that he was. He's got a nice frame on him. He is not a small guard by any means. And that's been something I've wondered about, like how he would hold up as a true freshman on the defensive end of the floor with the physicality, the strength. I feel a lot better about how that's going to translate after seeing him up close and in person. But he can run. I mean, he can lead the team in terms of a point guard position and distributing, getting other guys involved. He really impressed me, man. And he's definitely a dude who, when things break down and you need somebody to get you a bucket, he can absolutely do that. So let's say Nelly Davis is in foul trouble or out or whatever. He might be that next option in terms of a guy who can create offense. There's a Dude Thiero taken off. You love that. Let's talk about a Dude Thiero, by the way. He was limited in this one, just still kind of working his way back from some nagging stuff on the injury front. He's going to be fine. You saw the explosion there. The dude can absolutely fly, and he's not even 100%. So you love to see that. Supreme athlete. He is every bit of that 6'7", 6'8", 220 plus. Strong frame. You can play him at pretty much any position on the floor. I said that before. I definitely believe it now, being up close and beside him. The shot is definitely a work in progress. It's a long load, man. Like, he starts it down around the waist. And when you have that much ground to cover in your shooting motion, it kind of opens you up to having some inconsistencies with your mechanics. And you see that with him when he was doing just, some form shooting stuff and some stationary shooting drills. There would be times where he would go crazy. He'd hit like 8 in a row, but then he'd miss like, 5 out of 6 or something. So it's all about consistency with him, but the other parts of his game, I'm really excited about. And he's going to be healthy. He'll be all right. Really nice player for Arkansas. Trevon Brazile might have been the guy that I was most impressed with. And we've got the largest sample size in terms of what we've seen from him. But yeah, he's definitely added some good weight. He's thicker in the shoulders in particular, I noticed. He had a nasty windmill. You guys will see it on here at some point, kind of in traffic when they were doing some 5-on-5 against the GAs. There he is, just kind of powering up, dunking the basketball. He is playing more physical. He's more in attack mode. You'll see it more, I think, when they play Kansas in this exhibition game, as opposed to the practice stuff that they've been doing. But I really like what I've seen from him. And I know that Coach Cal said, hey, like we want him doing more things and shooting threes, which is going to happen. I think he's going to be more of a lob threat in this offense, more involved in ball screens in this offense. But he was absolutely stroking it from 3. The release is quicker. He's shooting it with a ton of confidence. I think that's going to be an even bigger part of his game this season. He looks the part right now of a guy who's getting ready to take off and really kind of get to that potential that we thought we were going to get from him maybe last year. Doesn't look like he's thinking about that injury at all, which he shouldn't be. He looks healthy. The explosion's back. I was really, really impressed with Trevon at the tip-off tour. No doubt about it. So excited for him. That was good to see. Carter Knox, another one. The thing about Carter Knox, and I was talking to somebody within the program before the thing at Pine Bluff. He was saying, was a little bit worried about him when he got to campus. He was, maybe a little bit heavy, maybe not in the greatest of shape, but he has lost 17 pounds since he got to campus. He's trimmed his body fat from over 20% down to 12%. And it really shows. Like, he looks the part of a big time SEC wing now. Muscular, big frame. And what I was really impressed about is the team was warming up. They were all on the opposite end of what you're seeing here. But Carter Knox was the only guy on the other end of the floor, and he was working exclusively with Brad Calipari. I mean, for like 45 minutes on his shooting form and just repeating the motion over and over and over, just kind of fine-tuning the mechanics there. His footwork, just certain one dribble pull-up moves, having his shoulders squared. I mean, there was a ton of attention to detail. So you can tell that it's something he's really, really working on. He can shoot the hell out of it now, especially when his mechanics are consistent. He can really, really fill it up from 3. Way better shooter than I thought he was. I knew he had it in him. He made a high volume when he was at Overtime Elite, but he shot it under 30%. And I wondered if it was like a shot selection thing with him. And I believe that because he's really got a nice stroke. He's going to help Arkansas from 3 this year. And he's a physical dude who can go one-on-one and get you buckets. He looked good in the king of the court stuff that they were kind of doing early on, where the guards were going up against each other one-on-one. Really nice player. When he gets downhill, he's more explosive actually than I thought in terms of getting up off the floor and finishing above the rim. But when you got a frame like that, like, you got to be willing to go in there into traffic and finish on dudes. And I think he's coming along in that regard as a freshman. So it was really impressive what I saw by him. Jonas Adu didn't do too much at all. He was limited out there. It was interesting. He was shooting a bunch of corner threes. I had heard he might want to shoot more threes at his next stop, and that was kind of one of the things he was looking for when he transferred. I watched him make, I think, 12 of 20 from one corner, and I saw him making some from the top of the key. I don't think he's going to shoot a lot of them, but I just didn't even know that was a thing with his game. So that was interesting. He was doing some 5-on-0 stuff, so working his way back. He's missed quite a bit of time. If there was a game on that day, he would have played, but he wasn't moving that great. And so I think it's something that we might want to watch in terms of how close to 100% is he, and how long whatever he's got going on. I know we saw him in a boot, so it must be like a lower leg foot thing. How long is it going to really bother him? They need him at 100%. And I think that'll come pretty quick. But what I do wonder about is they were just kind of doing 5-on-0, like motion on air stuff. And he was, I don't want to say lost, but it wasn't second nature to him yet, like it is with some of these other guys, because he hasn't had the reps. Like, where is he going to fit in offensively? I think is going to be really important. The sooner he's up to speed, the better, because he's a hell of a player. Got preseason All SEC again, and rightfully so. But the sooner he is kind of caught up to speed, getting that continuity and the chemistry back with these guys, getting comfortable in the offense, the better. So I think that's something to probably keep an eye on with him. DJ Wagner, you saw him dunk a basketball earlier. That was good to see because he was really a below the rim kind of guy for the most part with Kentucky, and he was dealing with that ankle injury. Well, then Cal said, hey, I think he's more athletic now. He's more explosive now. He's healthy. And he sure looked like it, even though he had the ankle brace on. So it was good to see him get off the floor a little bit. The three-point jumper, I thought in like drill work, in stationary shooting and warm-ups, it looked a lot better. It looked improved. He short arms it a little bit when he's in live action. So it's just taking what you practice and putting it into translation in live action scenarios. But I'm sticking to my guns. Like, I think I could still see a 33% shooter in DJ Wagner, but was really impressed with the way he was able to kind of handle himself in terms of running the offense, in the flow of it, on or off the ball. He was super comfortable, knew where to go, communicating. He's a voice. He's a leader. And buddy, when he gets downhill, when he drives it on you and gets to that left hand, you can't stop him. Looked really good out there. And he's a hell of a defender, way better defender. I knew he was a good one, but he can lock you up now. And it was interesting because I was talking to Walter Clayton of Florida, really good guard from Florida. And I asked him about playing DJ Wagner and what he remembers. And he was like, dude, people say DJ Wagner and they think offense. I remember defense. Like, he really disrupted things for us and gave us fits. So there you go. You love to hear it. Billy Richmond, unbelievable athlete. He is so explosive. He is better than I thought he was. Really, really fun to watch, man. I was impressed with him. He's an athletic guy for sure. And, you know, here's the thing about Billy Richmond that I'll say is he covers a lot of ground, I guess is the best way to put it. They were doing the one-on-one drills again with guards versus guards. And his first step, like the amount of ground that he covers off of that and how quick he does it, it's more than anybody else on the team. And so he's got to tighten the handle and stuff a little bit, but he just comes at you in a hurry. And it's really hard to keep in front. And he's so long and athletic that he can kind of finish over the top of guys. So was impressed with him. Really, really good defender. And I mean, his length and athleticism, and he's real twitchy as a guy that's going to be a problem on that end of the floor. He is going to have a bigger role than I thought he was. I feel very comfortable in saying that. And it seems like the staff is really high on him too. And he's another guy who you watch him and sometimes that shot comes out a little bit flat. And you wonder if teams are just going to be able to sag off on him. But then they were doing a shooting drill at the end where they're kind of tallying up, you know, makes, and they want you to get over 60 if they're really going to allow you to shoot threes in games. Cal was talking about it. And he had one of the highest scores on the team. And so it's in there. It's just a matter of making it consistent and making him confident in it come game time. But man, he is a hell of an athlete. Fans are going to have a lot of fun watching him. And we get out in transition. Like, he's a dude who you've always got to watch for a head tap opportunity because you throw it up. He's a dude who's going to go up there and get it. Excited about Billy Richmond. Big Z. He's, you know, for a guy who's 7'2", 245, he moves really well. He really does. And he's not just like running the floor like Giannis or something out there, but for a dude that big, he moves faster than you think he would, which you love to see. Really, really good passer. And they were running some offense through him at that thing. And then Coach Cal said at SEC Media Day on Tuesday, like, hey, yeah, we're trying to run some things through Big Z, as they should, because if he's in slot action, dribble handoff, he's a really good passer from there. He can pass out of the post, out of the high post. He can really keep things going. And then when you add in the fact that he can space the floor, and I love the three-point shot from the big fella. He's got a pretty good and quick release out there for a guy his size, which is nice. Can really do a lot of things. I think he's going to be better than some people are giving him credit for. I know I saw Matt Norlander had Arkansas in his top 25. He ranks like 101 teams. And it was a really good write-up that he had, but he said, you know, that Z was going to be just kind of more of a complimentary piece. And that's a fair expectation to have, but I think he's actually going to be way more important to this team than maybe some people were giving him credit for. It looks like he's come a long way. Still working on his physicality, although he had a couple post-up opportunities where I thought he looked strong and went up and finished, had some good footwork, soft touch around the rim. And obviously he's a guy that you can throw it up to. So pretty pumped about Big Z and what he can bring to the table. Got to continue to get in great shape because the way Arkansas runs the floor, if he's going to play big minutes for this team, he's got to be able to hold up And for the most part, I thought his conditioning was not bad, considering he had missed some time recently in a boot there as well. So there you have it with those top 9 guys. I will throw a shout out. There's some other guys who were out, like Cash Chavis. I've heard he's had some moments where he's looked really good and might be like that 10th guy, next man up. He wasn't really participating out there. He's been dealing with, I think, like a back or something, and has been in and out. Melo Sanchez was not moving around too well at all. He was out. But Jaden Carlette was out there. And I got to tell you, the dude can absolutely shoot it. We knew that he was 49% from 3 in high school, and he was like 90% from the free throw line. So like, okay, this guy's got a translatable skill. Yes, he can really, really shoot it out there for sure. But I tell you what, he's really good for his role. He competes defensively. He plays hard as hell. So he's really pushing his teammates, which you need from a guy kind of on the back end of the bench there. But man, they were doing some one-on-one, and he was getting buckets on guys at times. Like he scored on DJ once. I can't remember if it was Billy or Carter Knox that he scored on one time. But he's not bad. Like he's not on the level talent-wise as these other 9 guys by any means. But he's a dude that you can continue to work with, and then maybe by his late sophomore year, junior year, he's a dude who could kind of make the back end of the rotation. But he plays hard as hell. He competes, has really embraced his role. And I was impressed with him, so I definitely wanted to give him a shout out. But at any rate, like I said, just wanted to come in and kind of just run it back and update my thoughts on some of these guys, and obviously let you guys check out those highlights that you're able to see there. It was a really good time. Enjoyed the trip, and then getting back to tomorrow, we'll really dive back into to your questions in the mailbag and give you those shout outs, and appreciate the participation and keep them coming, folks. But I'm going to get out of here for now. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas and the Pot at the Palace, and we will catch you again tomorrow. Everybody have a good one.